What I have in front of me is a VAR, or a vaccine administration record, for our patient Samantha Jo Swenson. And what I'd like to do is to go through each one of the items so that you know what should go into each item, and then we'll go ahead and document a combination vaccine. As you can see up here at the top, we already have Samantha's name at the top under patient name. We have her date of birth recorded. We have her chart number recorded. And we also have the practice name and address already recorded. For your assignment, you will need to make sure that that information is taken off of your information sheet and put onto the vaccine record for your patient. You can see that we have several different columns on our form. The first column is the name of the vaccine that we administered. And notice here we have hepatitis, we have the diphtheria, tetanus, pertussis. We come down and we have the Haemophilus influenza type B, or the Hib, polio, and you can see that each one of the vaccines is listed here. And if we go down to the second page here, we start with measles, mumps, varicella, Hep A. We've got the meningococcal vaccines, the human papillomavirus, and then we have the influenza vaccine. What I want you to look at here is that they have a list of abbreviations that could go over here in the next column in the type of vaccine. In the type of vaccine, we need to list either one of the approved abbreviations for the vaccine that we gave, or the trade name. This is important if we use a combination type of vaccine, which I'll be giving a demonstration on how to do that. So we have to list the type of vaccine. We have to use one of these abbreviations, or we have to put in the trade name. The next column is the date the vaccine was given. Notice we're going to put the month, the day, and the year in. This is the date that the vaccine itself was actually given. The next column is the funding source, and we need to put an F, an S, or a P in there. When we talk about F stands for federal funding, S stands for state funding, and P stands for private funding. If a patient has an insurance that's federally funded, then we would put an F in the funding source. If the patient had state-funded insurance, such as we have here in Kansas called CanCare, then an S would go there. If a patient pays for the vaccine out of pocket, or they have a private insurance such as Blue Cross Blue Shield, then we would put a P in there for private funding. The next column is the site. Now, the site needs to be recorded where the vaccine was given. Notice under the site we also record the route. So the route is first, then we go ahead and we document the site. So for this particular vaccine, we had an IM injection, or intramuscular, that was given into the right thigh. So if you gave it in the right vastus lateralis, then you would document right thigh, or RT. Then we need to put in the lot number of the vaccine, and we're going to be able to find that on the label of the vaccine itself. And then we also have to list the manufacturer of that particular vaccine. MRK is the abbreviation for Merck. The next column is information about our vaccine information sheet. You know that we are required by federal law to give a current VIS to our patients or their guardians prior to giving the vaccine. So there's two dates that we are going to document here. The first date is the publication date of the VIS. Publication dates can be found on the last page on the bottom right-hand corner of your VIS. The next date is the date that the VIS was given to the patient or the patient's guardian. And you can see here for this particular one, we gave the vaccine information for the hepatitis B vaccine, and we gave it to the patient on August 2nd, or to their guardian. And the date on that VIS was July 20th of 2016. The last one is the signature or initials and title of the person who administered the vaccination. Due to the limited space, we just need to put our initials here, and then medical records will keep a listing of everybody's initials with their signatures and their credentials listed. Now, if you forget what goes into each one of these boxes, you can see we have little footnotes here. We have type of vaccines 1, here we have the funding source 2, and that's because down here at the bottom of both page 1 and page 2 are the instructions on how to record. So if you forget, then it's right here. Over here, this tells you what the abbreviations are, and it also gives you the trade name and the manufacturer for each one of those. So if we come down here to hepatitis B, we must have given the recombinant vax HB because we have it listed as Merck. So let's go back up here. And so we can see that the patient came in and they got their hepatitis B shot on the 2nd of August, and they're back in to get some more immunizations. So let's say instead of giving a single vaccine, we gave a combination, and I'm going to use the Pediarix. And we know that the Pediarix has 3 different vaccines in it. Hepatitis B, it has the poliovirus in it, also has DTaP. If I give a combination vaccine, then I have to list that combination vaccine for each one of its components. So the first one we're going to do is the hepatitis B, and we're going to put Pediarix in here. And we're going to say that the patient came in on the 2nd of October to get this. And they now have state insurance. They have can care, so I'm going to put an S in here. And I have to say where I gave this. Now we know that Pediarix is given IM, and this was given in the left thigh. My lot number for this, 635A1. This is by Glasgow Smith. The date on my VIS for the hepatitis B is going to be July 20th. The date that I gave it to the patient, and then my initials are going to go here. Now we know that the Pediarix also has the diphtheria, tetanus, and pertussis. So I'm going to go down here. I'm going to put Pediarix in here. And I'm going to put the date. My funding source, it's all going to be the same. And my Glasgow Smith. The date on the VIS for the DTaP, 5/17 of 07. The date that I gave it would be here. And then I will be putting my initials here. And the other component in a Pediarix is the inactivated polio. So it's down here. I'm going to put Pediarix in here. The date that I gave it. What my funding is. My injection site. My lot number, who my manufacturer was, the date on the VIS for the polio vaccine is the 20th of July of this year. The date that I gave that VIS to the patient, and then my initials. And if I had further vaccinations that I needed to record, then I would go ahead and continue in the same manner with those particular vaccines, making sure that I use the appropriate abbreviations and that I make sure I get the right date on that particular VIS.